Hello, this is Tarregor. This video is in the style of a Twitch stream. It's not edited, so it's gonna look like a Twitch stream. Really, most of my videos are in its playlist of actual Twitch streams. So this one's a re-recording. So anyway, welcome to my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. The design direction of my vision of WoW Classic Plus is substantially different from that of retail WoW circa Shadowlands and the private servers Vanilla Plus and Turtle WoW. This is partially because it aims to fix Vanilla WoW's many problems first, Flash on Pulse second, and add new content third. This is part of my playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. The document displays my vision of WoW Classic Plus, and the document's version number is 1.5.15. All versions of the document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of WoW. If you just want to know the general design direction of my vision of Classic Plus before you ever want to look into this, then watch the introductory video in this playlist or video document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document is in my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people, or however, working with me to make an actual private server out of this. It's all pure design thus far, and it ain't done yet. The display changes made to Zul'Farrak do not concern or drops in the dungeon, nor things such as NPC hit points, damage, or pathfinding, nor some quest changes. This will be covered in different parts of this document that I'll be covering in different videos. However, it is still worth briefly mentioning that elite NPCs in general, and not just in dungeons, are going to hit a lot harder and have a lot more hit points, and they'll be able to run 180-degree slopes, so walls, to chase players around without evade bugging. It's also worth mentioning that almost every damage and crowd control and AoE spell, item, and buff that's available to players was nerfed in this document to have a hard target cap, a Thunderclap, Whirlwind, and War Stop of 6 targets per spellcast or tick. Furthermore, all elite mobs in this game are being buffed so that movement speed slows them less effective against them, by which I do not mean a lower duration or chance to resist the debuffs. Because of these changes and other changes, you will not be able to successfully do any spell cleaving or melee cleaving, and unless you throw that level of the dungeon, which in this case you will not, you're not going to be able to AoE farm it either. You should expect to have to actually use marks in dungeons, and for the tank to actually use a shield if you ain't a druid. Now onto the actual changes made to Zul'Farrak in particular. I recently revised the section a bit to remove an apparent contradiction that I probably just forgot to get rid of a really long time ago. I forgot to actually delete from the document. Anyway, whenever a grave in Zul'Farrak graveyard that contains anything is opened by any means other than being opened by the boss, which Dr. Zumra, all players and their allies within a 50,000-yard radius of the entire instance will be plot stunned a la Whitemane Sleep, a la Inquisitor Whitemane's plot sleep for 6 seconds. Because it is a plot debuff as opposed to a regular stun, you cannot bubble out of it, you cannot blink out of it, you cannot ice block out of it, you cannot light of illumine out of it, etc. Being a plot stun, it is not subject to diminishing returns either. Aggro in which Dr. Zumra will open all the graves at once and put them on the mobs in them on everyone's threat tables, which will not directly kill you or him by doing so, though you'll probably die after that anyway. What you'll want to do is open each grave before fighting the boss, so that the boss will not open all them at once for you and aggro the mobs that come out of them. It won't kill him anyway. But yeah, anyway, Zul'Farrak dead heroes will be elite mobs. Those are one of the mobs that come out of the graves. Zul'Farrak dead heroes and zombies, the other mob that comes out of the graves, will have 300% of normal movement speed by default, so don't try running away. So don't try kiting them. If a Zul'Farrak dead hero or zombie exits combat, then it will get back into its grave. The graves themselves in Zul'Farrak will no longer have loot. Instead, the dead heroes and zombies that come from them will have loot, and the loot from the graves, such as the tarnished silver necklaces and the broken obsidian clubs and the crusted bandages, will be transferred to the dead heroes and zombies within them. All the graves that have anything at all will have one dead hero and one zombie in them. In order to make Witch Doctor Zumra be far less of a hassle to kill than he otherwise would be, 80% of the graves in the graveyard will contain nothing, which means that you will not get plot stunned by them, while the other 20% will have mobs in them. The boss's hit points will be increased. Witch Doctor Zumbra's hit points will be increased by 400% to 500% of its vanilla value, tentatively. Well, yeah, so that you cannot just burn them down without killing the dead heroes and zombies first. These changes to the graveyard were made to reduce non-competitive income and make more players level up outside of instances by making people not do graveyard runs unless they just really want those Evocaster robes that he has a tiny chance to drop. Or does it say Evocaster robes? Oh yeah, here it is. Witch Doctor's Umbra will no longer cast Healing Wave, Shadow Bolt, or Shadow Bolt Volley. He will instead cast Hex of Weakness, Voodoo Shield, and a new spell called Hex of Madness, which is an instant cast Hex that causes a single target to lose control of itself and randomly attack every scene in sight, friend, or foe. Target changes every 5 seconds if applicable. For 2 minutes, counting as a charm effect. Witch Doctors are not warlocks or shamans. They do not have elemental magic. They do not have fel magic. They have voodoo, which is part of life magic. To encourage players to kill Witch Doctor's Umbra in the first place, his loot table will be greatly expanded upon in a mostly indeterminate manner, and he'll also be given a 1% chance to drop some epic caster robes that only come from him. Sand Fury Witch Doctors will cast Stasis Trap Ward, like from Warcraft 3, and Healing, like from Warcraft 3, and Healing Ward, instead of Flash Heal and Lava Spout Totem. Witch Doctors are not warlocks or priests. Again, they have voodoo magic, not fel magic, and not light magic, and not elemental magic. They have voodoo magic. Because Gazriela's scales are so electrified, according to his quest item, his scale that he gives to the guys in the Thousand Needles, the boss will do 20 Nature Thorns damage to his attackers when stricken. Furthermore, Kim Bol, who is only mentioned on the tablet of that call, will be retconned out of existence and be replaced with the other male tired Loa Shirvala. And as does for the changes to Zul'Farrak thus far, I recently made some changes to Zul'Farrak in particular. If you just look at the current version in this document, you're going to see something a little different. But that's because this is the in-between version between 1.5.15 and 1.5.16. These are the changes that are going to be in the next version of the document so far, version 1.5.16. And yet again, all versions of the document are based on patch 1.12.2 of World of Warcraft. Alright, thanks for watching.